Boobs, bar, and burgers, all in one story. 2.5 hours and not answering his phone conveniently when his wife isn't around. My world was opened. My culinary horizons were broadened. I was no longer uncultured swine. Wow, you really had to slap me in the face with that, huh? Like, that's just disrespectful. Happy April, guys. You know what they say? April showers bring May flowers, and it's the start of spring, which means it is time for you to do your spring cleaning. If your room's looking like a mess, this is your PSA, your little nudge, your friendly reminder. Clean it up. What is it they say? Happy space makes a happy girl and a clean mindset. No, I don't think anyone else says that. I think that's just me. I made it up, guys. But it's just, I don't know, something about spring, it gets me into a mood for a whole new beginning. Now, today's theme for the episode is time to start your spring cleaning and take out the trash. In our stories today, we're going to be delving into a bunch of Reddit stories from the internet where OPs will have to decide, is this a mess I need to clean up? Or is this something where, toss the whole human away, toss the whole relationship away? I need to start anew, afresh, and clean. So let's get into our first story. Our first story is from the subreddit AITA. Am I the a-hole for not accepting a dozen roses from my husband after my surgery? I had to have a lumpectomy on one of my breasts due to cancer. My husband took me to the hospital for the procedure and left to go run errands. I had never had this procedure done before, and finding out I had cancer was a scary thing. He said he'd be right back while they were prepping me for surgery. Once I was ready and waiting to go into surgery, the nurse asked if I wanted my husband to come sit with me until it was time to go in. I said yes, but she came back and said she couldn't find him. I sat in the room by myself for an hour and he still didn't show. I went into surgery without any reassurance from him, no kiss on the cheek with an I love you or everything will be okay. It was such a lonely feeling, and I was wishing that I brought my mom with me instead. The procedure was done within an hour, and I was in the recovery room. Once my anesthesia wore off, I was awake and realized my husband still had not returned. At this point, I was really getting worried. The nurse said he wasn't answering his phone, and she seemed irritated that he wasn't there. The nurse went on to give me post-surgery directions, which I was only half listening to because I was still kind of out of it. Plus, with my increasing worry of where the hell was my husband? The nurse comes in after half an hour and says, "Sweetie, we're still trying to call him, but if he doesn't get here soon, you won't be able to leave. There's a big storm coming in, and this wing will be on lockdown until the storm passes." I could feel the tears welling up in my eyes. I just wanted to go home. 10 more minutes go by and he waltzed in with a dozen roses, like he was the most thoughtful husband ever. When I asked where he was, he told me he was at the bar because he was hungry for one of their delicious burgers. I told him that I'd been waiting alone throughout the whole ordeal and that he should have been there for me. He said he was sorry and held out the roses. I told him he could take the roses and shove it, and that I was never having him come with me during a medical procedure ever again because he sucked. I was getting part of my breast removed while he had a tasty burger and a beer? What the hell? Tears streamed down my face the entire ride home. Am I the hero for not accepting the dozen roses? My first instinct imagining this all going down for OP is first off, OP, I'm so sorry you had to deal with the surgery alone. That's scary. It's terrifying. And to not even have a reassurance, the I love you, kiss on cheek, the I'm waiting right here for you, babe. After you're done, I'm going to be the first person you see. Like none of that. And it's no, I'm thinking in my head, reading this, oh, maybe it's an emergency. Something happened, like something unexpected, or he's going to, I don't know, bring her food or something at least after the surgery. No, he needed to go to the bar and get a burger. His wife's breast was on the scale versus the bar with the burger. And he chose, you know what? This is the perfect time. She's going to be busy. She's going to be preoccupied. I'm going to go ahead and help myself to a burger and a beer probably, right? At a bar. Is this your emergency contact? OP! There is an update on this. I haven't glanced at it yet, but I have a feeling it might be juicy. Well, at least I'm hoping it is a good type of juicy. But let me hold your hand and tell you this. Absolutely not. The fact that he let you wait multiple hours, right? Because procedure is about an hour, I think is what you mentioned. And you were in the waiting room prepping for an hour before that. And then you waited at least half an hour after. So 2.5 hours to eat a burger and get a beer at a bar? Where is he driving to? Across town? Like, what? And he comes back with roses. Typical. That's literally like, you know those posts that you see on the internet? Oh, when you want him to get you flowers, but you don't want to say it. This is not the time. This is not the moment for that. It would be a different story if he went back quickly after reassuring her. He went to go get the flowers, then came right back and was waiting for her after her surgery. That's a different story. But come on. No, you're not the a-hole. Honey, if I had a procedure and you knew that you wouldn't be seeing me for an hour and you're hungry, what's on your mind?
Well, first of all, I wouldn't leave you like that
Yeah.
for multiple hours, and especially since you would be still, I guess, there by yourself waiting.
Yeah.
That is, yeah, I mean,
It's kind of
there are
scary.
definitely alternatives there, right? You can go to usually hospitals or whatever,
Mhm.
they have cafeteria, vending machines, something like that, where you can quickly grab a snack. Yeah, but
He went to a bar
yeah, I have,
for a burger.
yeah, I have. I
Oh.
I don't know. Like, there's really nothing I can say on his behalf to even try to defend his behavior.
I mean, he was hungry. A man's got to eat. Sometimes you just have to eat.
Yeah.
I'm laughing because he didn't even pick something quick. He went to a sit down situation. Like, I'm thinking, okay, you're really hungry. You don't want hospital food. You don't want vending machine stuff. Fine. Go out, stop by McDonald's. I don't know, get some nuggets, get a McDouble, get some French fries. Actually, I'm kind of craving that as I'm talking about it. But yeah, get a McChicken, something easy, quick, on the go. And then you just hustle back and you're in the hospital, you wait for your wife. No, this man chose a sit down situation. And a lot of times after these types of procedures where you have anesthesia, the hospital won't release you. Like, they literally won't let you go unless someone's there to drive you, because they don't allow you to drive after you've just had these type of procedures. So you're telling me her emergency contact, her husband, goes to the freaking bar. I doubt he only had a burger and nothing else to drink, and is now going to be the one who's responsible for both of their safeties, driving them home from the surgery. Oh, yes. I feel so safe now. Definitely. I don't know what's scarier at this point for her, the surgery or going home with him. That's horrifying. OP, I feel so bad for you. Is it too soon? I don't think it's too soon. Never have I felt more excited, or not excited. Excited is not the right word. More justified and slamming the freaking hammer down. Not the a-hole. But you would be to yourself if you continue staying with this man. OP. OP. No, it's time. You know what? The weather's looking pretty nice lately. It's warming up. It's spring. It's time to do some cleaning. I think, even especially in your time of need, and he wasn't there, that shows you exactly who your husband is. To me, this is not one of those things that you can say, oh, well, it's just he had poor judgment in the moment. This is just a one-time thing. Like, no. He thought this through and went, yep. Well, my wife is going through a boob surgery. But yes, I need I'm going through something myself. I need to go to the bar for a burger and a beer. Yeah. I think he showed you exactly who he is. Now, OP does have an update, but let's take a quick glance at some of the comments. First comment from Unsalted Beans. Not the a-hole, not being there for you is already bad, but not even bothering to answer his phone while he knows you're going to surgery is beyond disrespectful. You know what? I hate to be that person. Call me paranoid. But if you know your partner is going through a surgery, say you're really hungry, say you stop to get a burger, why don't you have your phone on? Or better yet, why are you not answering it? I don't know whether he had his phone off or the sound muted or whatever it is, but wouldn't you check the phone? I would get pretty antsy. If M, as you guys heard him chime in from behind the camera, or as you guys dubbed him, Mr. Deep Voice, like, if he was having a medical surgery and I was away for whatever reason, I'd be checking my phone anxiously every few minutes, just going, oh, any news? Nope. Any news? Updates? Nope. But why did he have his phone off? And who spends 2.5 hours eating a burger? Is he doing like one of those food challenges you see on YouTube, like the freaking Mile High Burger? Where it's like you have to like eat it within like an hour time frame. Like, is that what it is? Like, what is he doing? 2.5 hours and not answering his phone conveniently when his wife isn't around. The conspiracy theorist in me is going, mayhaps was he doing something he doesn't want his wife to know about? You're shaking your head. Do you see do you see my reasoning?
Yeah, I wouldn't rule that out.
Yeah?
Yeah, especially since he didn't pick up the phone, which is
Right? Red flag.
very strange.
I think he's got something to hide. Another comment from Rosabelle. A dozen roses can't make up for a dozen ways he failed you when you needed him most. He left you alone, scared and sedated for a burger. He can keep the flowers. OP responded, he's incapable of taking care of anyone else because he's a man-child. I should have known better and had my mom come instead. Lesson learned. Oh, you know what? You know what they say about there's this phrase when things are tough. What was it like? Life doesn't give you like things that you can't pass, something like that, or when life gives you lemons. No, I'm mixing up so many phrases in one point. But my I guess the phrase I'm thinking of here is the one where they tell you life doesn't give you more than you can handle. That's the one. I don't think I got it quite right, but it's close enough. This is one of those times where I'm like, no, life did not mean to give you anything. This man gave you absolutely nothing. There was no lesson to be learned on your part other than your husband's a bad partner. Please dump him. Please dump him. If you're ever going to take a random advice from a stranger on the internet, do it now, OP. Dump the man.
Hearing about that he is a man-child, I think I don't think our theory about him doing something potentially inappropriate is correct. And
no?
yeah.
Oh, you think he's just incompetent maybe?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know what's worse at that point. He could be both. I mean, for all we know, he was helping himself to more than just the burger. And he happens to be competent. Who knows? Oh, this is rough, but let's see what the update says. I'm curious what is going to be in that. So OP says, update, I'm new to Reddit and have no idea how to update other than editing this post. Anyway, I had no idea how many views this post would get. And in case you guys are wondering, you want to guess how many upvotes the story got?
24,000.
Oh, did you sneak a peek?
No, what it was.
You're
the
so
number?
close. It's 23.3 thousand. Wow. Okay. You're pretty close. But yeah, a lot of eyes on this one. And OP says, had no idea how many views this post would get or how much support I would receive. So I thank you all so much. I want everyone to know that this post was an event that happened to me in 2010. Next time, I will write that initially to avoid confusion. I chose to write this in Am I the A-hole? Because when this did happen, my husband made it seem like I was the ungrateful one for not appreciating his thoughtful gesture. Even though many years have gone by, I thought it would be interesting to get feedback on this event in my life. So for those who thought this was a fake story, it's not. OP! No! You stayed with this man for 15 years? See, I don't know. This was not intentional, I promise, guys. But when I think of any story on the Reddit that we are listening to where 15 years involved, the only positive thing I hear about is our petty revenge one in our last episode where the guy's like, yeah, I'm going to keep on changing the toilet paper orientation at my mother-in-law's house. I've been doing it for 15 years. I won't stop now. See, that's the only time 15 years to me is ringing any like, oh, wow. Oh, okay. You do you, sir. That's some determination. In this case, why are you with him? It pains me. You know what pains me the most? When wonderful women are with scrubby dudes, like legit scrubs. Like that just pains me. Pains my soul. OB continues. So yes, 15 years have gone by, and for those who I haven't responded to, I am getting a divorce now. Other life events took precedence to getting a divorce soon after this had happened, and in 2010, I wasn't ready to make that decision. I found out that he was a drug addict, and I tried to help him in his recovery. We had kids, and I still loved him then. He was also sober for about 6 years, at least that is what I think was true, and I thought things were going to be okay. So much happened in the time from 2017 to now that I'm going to have to post other stories on here. If you thought the story made him an a-hole, the other stories more than sealed the deal for divorce. I kicked him out, and we have been separate for almost 3 years. Divorce will be final next month. I'm happy to say that I'm cancer free, even though I had a second diagnosis with breast cancer in 2023, which is the reason the divorce isn't already a done deal. But now I'm strong and ready to fight this last battle, as I call him my third and last cancerous tumor that needs to be removed from my life. Thank you again for all the love and support. It means a lot. I feel like we just sped through 15 years of history of turmoil and stress. There's a chance I might grow gray hair from this story. I'm usually pretty serious and I'm on OP's backs usually in these types of stories for not leaving their partner, not leaving a relationship. But let me make it clear on a serious note, guys. It's not easy. I get it. It's definitely not easy, especially when this is your partner, someone who's been ingrained and part of your life for so long. It's tough to look at someone that you love or once loved in OP's case and just say, yeah, I'm going to walk away from this. So I do feel for her there. And even worse, they have kids together. So, it's more complicated and with her cancer diagnosis at the same time. I love how she called him her third and last cancerous tumor. Oh, well, the irony here is, I guess, this last tumor has definitely dominated most of her life compared to her first two tumors. Ironically here. But you guys asked for more wholesome stories. I feel like this is more of a hopeful story. I will try to find some more wholesome ones for you guys. But I like that this one we're starting with a happy ending. So kudos to you, OP, and for making the really difficult choice and standing on your own, and especially for fighting the cancer as well. I wish you best of luck for you and your kids. And maybe, who knows, maybe in the future we'll see a more of a happy update on OP's life moving forward. What are your thoughts on this one? Would you consider this a wholesome story after all?
Given their previous stories, I guess I could say that. Yeah, I guess you could say that. Yeah.
I bet you didn't expect that, huh? First story we had boobs, bar, and burgers, all in one story. So, how was our first story, guys? How are you feeling? It's kind of positive, right? I think we kind of ended on a hopeful note. And if you're enjoying the reading so far, don't forget to like this episode and hit subscribe, guys. Although, if you are tuning in from Spotify, don't forget to rate this podcast 5 stars. Thanks, guys. Now, our second story is our wild pick. And wild pick is just that, a story that's a little kooky, sometimes a little bit wild, but I've noticed that you guys particularly enjoy these because they tend to be a little bit controversial, tend to have a kind of mixed bag of opinions and reactions from you guys. So, our wild story is from the subreddit AITA. Am I the hoe for being upset that my boyfriend threw out the food I was eating because he thought it was culturally insensitive? My boyfriend and I made dinner tonight from one of those meal delivery services, like HelloFresh. It was called loaded pork taquitos. We forgot to pick our meals for this week, so they were chosen for us. So we cooked the recipe together. Usually he does the prep work, like cutting veggies, while I do the cooking. I knew already that my boyfriend wasn't excited about this recipe. He's Mexican and doesn't like Tex-Mex. However, I didn't know the extent to which he disliked it, as we've had it before from other places. But he's always commented his disdain for the food. So I finished cooking the dish and we started eating it. Of course, it wasn't as good as authentic Mexican food, but I thought it tasted pretty good, honestly. I asked him how he felt about it, and he expressed his disdain, talking about how he feels like it's what's wrong with Tex Mex and how it whitewashes his culture. I was listening, but still eating the food because I was hungry, and I just feel like eating something you cooked makes the experience better. Then he suddenly says that he hated the dish and he is too disgusted to have it eaten in our household. He took his plate and my plate and threw them directly into the trash, literally as I had my fork on the plate eating it. I'm sorry, I'm dead. I'm I'm totally imagining, OP, you and your boyfriend, like, you're making the food, you're hungry, you sit down, you're eating. Meanwhile, like, boyfriend on the other side of the table, maybe he's looking at you like, you know what? This is a disgrace. This is not real Tex-Mex. This is gross. This food is an affront. Nope. And then meanwhile, you're over here like, babe, you're so right. Yum, yum, yum. I'm listening. I'm just like, and then he just picks up both of your dishes and tosses them directly to the trash. I feel like I'm going to have a very unpopular opinion about this story, but I'll hold my thoughts. I'll hold my thoughts. Let's see what happens next. Opie says, we got into a fight afterwards as I feel like him taking the food I was eating, disregarding any choice I had in the matter, was wrong. I do understand how he feels though. As another person of color, it is frustrating to feel like your culture is being appropriated, erasing your community's history. In our argument afterwards, I told him that I respect how he feels about it and that we won't eat Tex-Mex anymore. I just didn't know he felt that strongly about it before. But I still disagree with what he did as I felt that it completely disregarded how I felt. I feel like if he had explained how strongly he felt about it, I would have stopped eating the food out of respect for him. However, he thinks that me being upset about his actions is wrong and indicative of my lack of respect for his culture. So, am I the a-hole? Okay, unpopular opinion. I'm just going to say no. But okay, give me a second to explain myself before all of you authentic Mexican food lovers and Tex-Mex experts come at me, okay? Boyfriend's entitled to his opinion, obviously. It's close to his culture. He has a specific view about Mexican food. That's fine. And he doesn't like Tex-Mex. Point blank. Okay, doesn't like Tex-Mex, doesn't think it's okay or that it's right to eat in the household. Fine. Okay. But he was there the whole time the OP had this recipe out and they were cooking and preparing for it together. You're telling me he couldn't have made it known during the prep time, during the cook time, any point before they sat their butts down to eat, or he could have handled it any other way? This feels a little bit very kind of childish. I'll just say it. The idea that, oh, no, right now I've decided that this meal triggers me so much, I don't want to eat it, but you don't get to eat it either. And I'm going to toss both our dinner and our hard effort in making the dinner straight into the trash. That for me kind of screams like, ooh, you're not wrong in having your opinion, but you're wrong in how you approached it. And I think girlfriend here, OP here, is pretty justified in being upset. I mean, legitimately, she might have realized that, okay, he's not a fan of it, but he's still preparing it with you, which is kind of like sending mixed signals here. And he sat down and then started casually talking about it and then just gets up and like tosses it in the trash as you're like literally fork midair into the taquitos. Like, I'm just like, it's rude, no? It's kind of screaming to me like, oh, so if you don't like it, neither of us get to enjoy this. Like, if you're unhappy, neither of us get to be happy right now. Neither of us get to be fed here. That to me screams a little bit like, I don't know if it's miscommunication or if it's just childish behavior. I don't think OP's a-hole. What do you think?
Yeah, it's tough, I guess, for me at least,
Mm-hmm.
to completely understand. I would say on the surface, like what the OP's, I guess, was a boyfriend or
Boyfriend.
boyfriend did. Yeah, I don't think it's right. Like, yeah, I guess from the perspective of having your opinion about something, okay, that's completely
Like,
fine.
yeah, I'm totally behind his like
Right,
opinion of the
right.
food. Like, yeah,
But that
sure.
reaction, particularly like tossing the food,
Yeah.
and I mean that's kind of a a-hole move right there.
Yeah. I'm just
Um,
saying, he's an a-hole. But you guys know what's interesting? So I will say, I've never had very good or positive experiences with Tex-Mex food or Mexican food. Only because now I realize at the time, like the only foods that I've had are literally like that they call Tex-Mex here in America and US, right? Are like either like the frozen, like very, very Americanized, like they'll call it something like they'll call it the mini tacos or taquitos or something. And it's usually I've had it like frozen, not really good, or very, I guess I want to say fusion version of the foods. And I just thought, oh, maybe Mexican food wasn't for me. And as a foodie, that's weird because I hear people rave about Mexican food all the time. And I'm like, okay, either my taste buds, there's something wrong with them, or I'm just not getting the magic of the foods I've been having. But then Emma and I went to Mexico, and oh my gosh, my world was opened. My culinary horizons were broadened. I was no longer uncultured swine. Up. I just didn't have actual Mexican food. It's just, we had tacos over there and I still think about them. You know, the dishes that when you go somewhere and you can recall how it tastes? For me, the tacos that we had, I think they were shrimp tacos that we had in Mexico were just so good. And I wouldn't even say I'm a tacos person, but I guess now I am. After having experienced the authentic, the yummy stuff, Although I would even argue the ones I had were probably not like the best of Mexican food, right? Because again, we were at a resort in Mexico. So how authentic can it be? I don't know, but it was a lot better than the stuff I've had here. Because when I think of, I don't know, is this controversial to say? Do people consider foods like Taco Bell, like fast food, very Americanized chains like that? Do you consider that Tex-Mex food or any even like small linkage related to Tex-Mex food? I would think not, right? Like it's some sort of like American version of it, some inspired version. Kind of like, I don't know, when I think of Chinese food, like General Tso's chicken, which apparently is American, I heard. Something like that.
I mean, yeah, that's what I heard. I mean,
So,
to take it another step, and this might be an unpopular opinion, but I would say that a lot of foods in, I guess, today's world, there a lot of dishes kind of get intermingled
yeah,
and
that's true.
get, I don't know what's the right word, but you know,
Fused. I don't know. The popular word for food seems to be
right?
like
Yeah, and
fusion.
my opinion of that is also, from certain culture where we have our own dishes, and
Mhm,
if uh, people from different culture want to, take that dish, at least personally, if I would see that and
mhm,
they want to change it or something and do things differently, I don't know. I personally wouldn't be offended,
mhm.
and I think there is a difference of how that's done. Like if someone's, take someone's, I guess, cultural kind of food, and then they're like, well, here's, I'm gonna make it
Yeah.
so called I'm gonna make it better, and here's
Oh,
the
yeah.
improved version. Yeah, then that's not right. But
Yeah.
if that food is changed slightly or changed just to match,
Like
I don't
local
know,
preferences or
yeah, local
something. Yeah.
preferences, the palette of the, how people like this, like, I don't really see that big of a deal, because like foods are evolving. Like you can say,
Right?
like, 50, 100 years ago, people were not eating the same things as they're eating now. Or
Oh, those poor souls.
potentially, yeah, there are definitely, certain dishes that people have been eating for a long, long time. Or, but at the same
Yeah.
time, I think if done right,
Mhm.
or you're not claiming that, you're not you
Right,
make me
right.
better, or you're not claiming, oh, this is authentic, X food. Like I think it's
Yeah.
like I think it's okay, and I don't know, maybe people have a different opinion about this.
No, I would agree with you. I think you hit it on the head. Like in the sense
Hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, did you notice I couldn't remember what it was? I paused. I was like, you hit it on the head. Yes, but you basically nailed the point down. Mhm. Like it's all about I don't want to say marketing, right? I think it's the intention. Because coming from like a very predominantly in my family, right? Viet food. Viet food is very much ingrained in my culture, my life, right? And how many times have you heard, "Oh, pho inspired something." And then it's like the dish is completely different. For example, I recently had pho inspired tacos, guys. And you know what? You know what? They were freaking delicious. They were freaking delicious. I will not knock them because the food was really, really good. But I think that's where I draw the line. Well, no, that's not where I draw the line. Where I draw the line is when someone, like you said, like M says, they will go in, and sometimes it might be even someone outside of the culture, like someone non Viet, for example, going in and saying, no, you know what? Traditional pho, saying something like, oh, traditional pho food is greasy, it's disgusting. But I made it clean. I made a clean version of it. I made a better version of it. That's where I'm a little bit like, wow, wow, you really had to slap me in the face with that, huh? Like, that's just disrespectful. It's just like a slap in the face for no reason. Like, I'm just like, okay, like you tweak the food to match whatever preference you like. Cool. But when you start attaching, no, this is the better version of it. This is the real version. That's where I think you're just being offensive at that point. You're just
Right.
you're just picking a
Or
fight.
you're kind of claiming that's the authentic version of
Is your
something,
version.
right?
Right.
That
Yeah.
it's and yeah.
What I find funny in this case though is so I don't know if you guys are familiar with HelloFresh. So Em and I have done HelloFresh. So usually how it works is it's one of those meal kit type of systems. You know, it's not that the food comes pre-prepared. It's almost like the ingredients for a dish comes with a recipe card and the ingredients for it. in a bag so that you can easily just, lunchtime or dinner time, whatever. Let me just pull out the ingredients I already have in a bag, chop, 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 cut, 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 whatever you need to saute, stir, cook rice, whatever it is, right? And that's it. This meal kit service, HelloFresh is guilty of doing this. I would agree, of saying pho style banh mi. They have definitely done that, or even this, where they call it pork taquitos. And it's kind of like, it's like you see where they're going with it. They don't advertise as this is authentic, like authentic cultural cuisine, but they're definitely trying to use it as a marketing ploy a little bit. So I feel like that's kind of like the gray area where I'm not sure, like, ah, I don't know if that's like, yeah, we're good with that. And is that a little bit pushing the envelope? I'm not sure. Because when I think of even the American audiences, right? I think when trying new foods, a lot of people tend to be, if they're unfamiliar with it, they're kind of scared. And I'm not saying that you have to tone down the authenticness of the dishes to make it more, appetizing or more attractive to the whole mass or, people as whole. But I'm wondering if that's what they were doing. That certain dishes are just labeled a little bit more like more Americanized. I hate to say that. They're more Americanized or kind of watered down a little bit to cater to what local audiences would be more willing to try. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just wondering if that's just the case in some of these situations. But I'm so mad. So OP cooked the whole meal only to not eat anything. So now they're hungry and hangry. Hungry and hangry at the same time. I'm just going to say it. I don't think this situation was that deep. I just really don't think it had to blow up as big as it did between the two. I think it was as simple as, shoot, I didn't realize, boyfriend, I did not realize you felt that strongly about Tex-Mex food or faux Tex-Mex, faux, falsely advertised as Mexican food. But now that I get it, we're not going to do it again. I liked OP's approach with that. That would have made more sense. But he just went, after stewing with it for half an hour, however long they went to make it, he's like, all right, I'm not eating it, but you're not eating it. This is a time to stand in solidarity and hunger. And I'm just like, I mean, we cooked it. I mean, can we have the discussion and acknowledge that we're hungry? Because now you guys are just having a hangry conversation. Just admit it. You guys are probably both hangry and yelling at each other. Obi, I don't think you're an a-hole for being upset. And I don't think boyfriend is an a-hole for his views. But man, is he an a-hole for throwing out your food and dumping both your dinners? That's rough. I don't know. That's my final verdict on this. So there is an interesting edit update. But has that changed? Has our discussion changed your thoughts on this?
No, I mean, I would want to hear it. Maybe also my initial kind of uh, summary of, I guess, I was what initially I think it might change because maybe I missed some kind of
Mm-hmm.
important detail about this. Like to me, this is not a set in stone thing,
Yeah.
and maybe
Maybe there's
I'm
different
missing some
nuances. Yeah.
historical thing or maybe sensitive subject for some people or some
Mm-hmm.
cultures where that could be very sensitive. But yeah,
Yeah. You know what that reminds me? One of the first few times I saw M eat pho, which is I would say the most popular Viet food that's like known, I think, outside of our culture, Viet culture. He took hoisin, a bunch of hoisin, and just sprayed it directly into the bowl. And I remember I had a moment where I was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What is that? Why are you doing that? Because growing up in my family, and I think it's normal, like some people like have this hoisin sauce on the side and they'll dip like the meat in, they'll dip whatever in, right? I have never seen anyone directly combine it into their pho bowl directly like that. And I just remember my first reaction was, I'm repulsed. What is this? But joking aside, I was like, I guess it makes sense whether or not it's like the same flavors. You put it in, you put it out, you customize it. That's what sauces are for. That's what condiments are for the dish itself. And honestly, people have different preferences for their foods. Like, even if it's traditionally not eaten a certain way, like, eat it however you like at this point. Like, as long as you're not infringing on other people, in my opinion, or promoting as some sort of weird, like, my way is the only way to eat this.
right. And also just add additional information, like I'm aware that I guess most people eat it, sauce on the side, then they usually dip their
Well, actually,
meat or
I'm not
whatever.
sure. I thought that
I
was
mean,
just
I've
my
seen,
family
no,
thing.
I've seen that, and
Oh,
like I
okay.
also seen people add it directly, and
Yeah.
I prefer adding it directly, and unless that's somehow disrespectful, which I don't know,
I
maybe it
don't
is,
think so.
then like
I
I'm
don't
gonna
think
continue doing it because that's how I
so.
like it, right? Like I'm not completely like ignorant to I've seen how other people eat it. I just like it that way.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing.
Yeah, I think it's fine. Although, there's a joke in my family, right, guys? So the joke that my grandma, my mom, like everyone in my family says is that when like M comes over to eat, they're always like cheering him on. They're always so proud of him. They're like, "Oh, look at him. He eats so well. He eats like authentic Viet person. He eats everything." Because and then they look at me and they're like, sighs of disappointment. And they're like, yeah. Because am I outing myself here? I don't like scallions, guys. I don't like onions. I don't like scallions. I don't like veggies with weird textures unless they're prepared a specific way. Don't you shake your head at me. So, literally for pho, I don't eat the bean sprouts. I just hate the bean sprouts. I'm not a bean sprout girl. And I always order no onions and no scallions, please. And then usually the server, well, the person taking our order will literally look at me and then look at M and go like, "Wait, you don't want onions and beans? You don't want the bean sprouts? You don't want the onions? You don't want all these things that come with a bowl of pho?" Meanwhile, M's like, "Everything's fine for you," and he's like, "Yeah, everything normal."
Usually you get on the side, and I get extra,
Yeah,
which I like.
yeah. See, unexpected bonus. I don't want to. I ask for it on the side, so then he gets an extra helping of it. See, look how well we work as a team. I do it for you, honey. I do it for you.
Sure.
That's what I do it for. Now, let's see some comments before we get to the update. First comment, not the if he felt that strongly about it, he should have said it before you even started prepping the meal. Taking someone's food as they're eating it and bidding it is so darn rude, right? That stresses me out that he took your freaking dinner and just, I'm just imagining, Opie's just like munching away and all of a sudden, like, fork still in midair. And then she just sees her food just dump. What? Like, just know, babe, if you ever took the food out of like my grip during dinner, I would have an iron claw most likely like on the dish. Like, what are we doing? Why are we doing this? Unless it's poison, you better tell me why you're dumping our food. Another comment. Not the old Mexican living abroad here. He needs to get a grip. If he wants authentic Mexican all the time, he can go back to Mexico. This is not my words. This is the words of the commenter who is speaking as a Mexican person living abroad, okay? Commenter says, "We do what we can with the ingredients we have when living abroad. And honestly, as a Mexican who has seen the sacrilege that others make with our food, I had to learn to tolerate it. And even sometimes feeling flattered that all across the States, Canada, and Europe, people seem to like and appreciate our food and try to cook our dishes with the resources they have. Culture is meant to be shared. Food is part of the culture. And honestly, as a Mexican woman, I tell you to run." He just showed a massive red flag. And if he feels comfortable enough with disrespecting you and throwing away with what you prepared, he might feel comfortable disrespecting you in worse ways in the future. I'm kind of taking this whole thing surface level with a grain of salt because I'm not jumping for once, not jumping to the dump him yet, because it could be that there's some context here that we're missing. Maybe boyfriend just feels that extremely strongly about Tex-Mex or faux Mexican food, and he just never voiced it for some weird reason. But let's see what's going on in the edits and updates. Edit. "Hey, thanks for the responses. I know I'm getting a lot of flack for excuses and enabling him, and his actions were absolutely wrong. That's what the fight was about. But I do think that I painted his response in a worse light than I meant to. It wasn't aggressive or malicious. But of course, that doesn't excuse what he did. He needs to learn to emotionally regulate, and I think that's something that we can both work on. We're both young and we're growing. I know most of you don't agree, but I don't think he's irredeemable. To those of you who have educated me on Tejano cuisine, thank you so much. I'm lacking in my knowledge of Mexican American history, and it's something I've been meaning to educate myself on for a while." Oh, I will also be looking into this after our episode, guys. I have not heard of Tejano. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Cuisine. And it seems like there is, a lot of history around that. And OP continues on to her update. "Hey, so we had a long conversation when he got home from work. He apologized profusely and expressed regret for his actions. He said that he realizes that what he did was a huge overreaction and absolutely unacceptable. He said that there's no excuse for what he did and that he's sorry that he failed me in that moment and he knows he needs to continue working on his communication skills because of this. I appreciated that and forgave him. I know a lot of you will think I drank the Kool-Aid, but I think it's hard to judge something you only have a secondhand account of. You don't really know our lives or anything about us other than what I've shared here. I spoke with several of my friends earlier about this, all highly educated, independent women who actually know him. They all thought that what was said here was an overreaction, though they all agreed that his behavior was ridiculous and unacceptable. So ultimately, I will listen to the people that I know and trust in real life. However, I do really appreciate all the perspectives given here, even the ones calling me a pathetic enabler with no self respect. I know that most of you commented out of concern for my well being, and I appreciate that. I agree that this was concerning, and I will keep an eye out for a similar pattern of behavior in the future. Thanks for the help. Oh, I think this kind of turned out surprisingly wholesome and positive in a way. Because, I mean, not great that they had this fight and dinner was not served, but it's great to see a couple actually have a meaningful conversation about these things. And Opie's actually thinking critically and for herself for once and wanting to work towards it where it makes sense. Like, I also agree. I don't think this is a irredeemable moment. Do I think his actions were out of line for tossing the dinner? Yeah, absolutely. Disrespectful? Yeah. Hmm. But his apologies and I think expressing regret and the fact that both of them are having a conversation about, I think that's a step in the right direction. Am I naive? I think there's hope. You think there's hope for this couple?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I don't I mean, obviously it matters a lot to the boyfriend about, the food that they're eating and how it's defined and things like that, which I totally get. But I appreciate Opie standing up for herself. For once against the commenters here. I didn't quick glance on the comments. I don't see many of the comments, calling specifically for a breakup or anything dramatic like that. But many of them are kind of expressing concerns of, oh no, is this a sign of abusive behavior? Is this a sign of more red flags? I just, actually, for once, I think this is handled appropriately. So kudos to you, OP. And I'm kind of feeling good. We're 2 for 2 in a more positive edit and update today. What do you guys think? Does this count as our wholesome episode? Ooh, now our next story is a fun one. Okay, I'm very curious about your opinion on this one. This one is from the subreddit, Am I the A-hole? Am I the A-hole for telling my wife she can't cook? I, 29-year-old male, have been with my wife, 28-year-old female, for 8 years, and meals are just about the only place of contention in our marriage. But I'm scared she's gonna kill someone one day. Background: we split the cooking in our house 50-50, but when she cooks, I feel like I have to watch her like a Hulk. She undercooks just about everything, especially me, and no matter how many times I try to politely correct her, she claims I'm being picky. For example, every time she makes rice, I just can't convince her it's 1 part rice to 2 parts water. She always says, "Are you sure? That seems like a lot of water." Or maybe that's how you like it, but I don't want it so mushy. The package and Google won't convince her either, and I just swallow my pride and eat the crunchy rice every time. It's like that with everything: pasta, veggies, bread, meat. I can't. Oh, what? You look like you have some concern.
Yeah. What kind of rice are they using?
1 part water, 2. Wait, no. 1 part rice, 2 parts water. Doesn't that
Right.
sound crazy?
I mean,
Sounds like a
I guess
lot.
there's some rice that needs more
I
water.
think it's instant rice.
Mm.
I would assume it's some sort of like instant rice that you need lots of water, like to like dehydrated rice or something.
I know there's some rice, but
Oh, wait, maybe brown rice. Brown rice needs a lot more water, I
maybe,
think.
yeah, because I know like regular
Jasmine rice.
jasmine rice is 1 cup rice,
You'd be
1.5 cups of water.
You're closer to making rice porridge at that point if you're going to do like 2 parts water. But I'm crying because how dry does the rice need to get for you to be eating crispy, crunchy rice? Oh, Pete, I'm feeling bad for you. Now, he says, the thing is, I wouldn't care so much if it was just me, but she always wants to cook for our friends. She really prides herself on her cooking and wants to make everything herself. I just trail behind her, trying to make sure it's all edible, but there's usually a few dishes that end up drastically oversalted or undercooked. Our friends will politely eat, but I've noticed that they've been coming to fewer and fewer invitations for dinner. Things all came to a head the other night when she went to put some chicken in the oven as I was hopping in the shower. When I came out, she had pulled the chicken out and said dinner was ready. I was skeptical and told her that it had only been like 10 minutes. She said she pan-seared it first, so it was fine. But when I came to look, the sides were literally pink. I snapped a little and told her she's going to kill someone one day from serving them raw meat. Can't you see that it's pink? That's food safety number one. She said she thought it was done, and it's not her fault her mother never showed her how to cook chicken growing up. I then told her, well, you're almost 30. That's no excuse for not knowing how to cook at all. Needless to say, she was pretty upset with me, and I probably could have been nicer. But I've been nice about it for 8 years, and nothing's changed. Am I the a-hole? Oh my, what a lethal combination. Confidence and undercooking in the kitchen. Oh man, wait, with a desire to host and cook all the meals yourself. Wait, can I ask? Oh, wait, so no one ever taught your wife how to cook, which, okay, fair. Not all of us like are taught how to cook. Like I wasn't like especially taught per se how to cook. But where is all this unfound confidence coming from? Like she's so confident. I can't imagine that. That's hilarious. Like I imagine she's so proud of herself. She cooks this like cooks quote in quotation marks. She sears the chicken a little bit. She tosses it in the oven. She takes out in like 10 minutes, which I'm thinking, unless that's you're doing thin chicken and you're putting an air fryer, which even then 10 minutes is kind of pushing it. You pull out, it's pink. Literally, it's the color of pink. I love pink as a color, but not on chicken, not on my chicken. And then she's just like, yeah, that's edible. That's good. Does she not taste her food? Like, genuine question. Do you not taste it in your mouth when the food is not quite ready to eat?
So do you think it's incompetence or laziness?
Oh, no. Well, can you be a lazy cook?
Definitely
Oh,
can. She just doesn't bother
well,
checking because you can definitely
yeah.
check to see if the chicken is cooked, right?
But what if she can't tell? What if she just genuinely doesn't know?
Uh, I don't know. Just quick Google search, even for a chicken. Like, if you can't tell by looking at it, or
Yeah.
feeling the chicken, or at least cutting it open and looking at it. I don't know. Use a thermometer, something that will tell you, the temperature. So that just takes the guesswork out of it.
You know what's concerning to me? It's not even that the husband's been suffering through 8 years of this, but their friends have been suffering. So it's like, I feel bad that he's just like, our dinner guests are like dropping like flies. Like they just don't want to come over anymore, babe. Like when you cook, no one wants to come over anymore.
Maybe they need to do a welfare check to make sure they're alive.
Oh, God. Wait, maybe that's why they haven't been accepting the invitations anymore. Oh, no. Oh, I just, okay, guys, I'm not advocating for raised voices in a household, but honestly, sometimes if your partner is not getting it, I'm not saying you like do not actually like don't literally smack into their skulls, right? But use the power of words and vocals to smack the truth to their face. You know, you gotta just be like, babe, our guests are dropping like flies. Stop cooking, please, or learn how to cook properly.
Well, see, I think that's also not helpful if you're just saying learn how to cook properly. Because if the OP knows how to do it, he can take his time and effort, I guess, to
You mean
show,
she? Oh, well, he. Yes, you're right.
yeah, to show his wife how to kind of do it or how he's doing
I
it.
think he's been saying it, but she just kind of doesn't. Because you're telling me in 8 years of marriage, this is the only time they've cooked chicken. And this is the only time he's pointed out, hey, the chicken's pink again. I'm wondering, is it like you said, is it incompetence? Is it laziness? Is it just willful ignorance? What is it? What's your theory on this?
I don't know. It's just
Mixture of all.
maybe like lack of care,
Ah, negligence.
negligence, I guess.
You know what this brings me flashbacks of? Do you know?
No.
You should know. So Em and I are very big fans of cooking shows. We watch Chopped, Hell's Kitchen, Kitchen Nightmares. And this reminds me of the chefs on Kitchen Nightmares, where they're always like, I have the best food in the block. I cook the most amazing dish in this freaking town. I just don't understand why the customers don't come in. You know what the reason is? It's not because my food is bad or my cooking culinary practice. No. The reason why is because customers don't see me. I have a sign outside, but I need bigger signs outside clearly. Or worse, customers are lazy or customers don't know what good food is when it hits them. I'm not exaggerating to you guys. If you guys have ever watched an episode of Kitchen Nightmares, basically Gordon Ramsay, a chef, goes in and he helps these restaurants that are failing. He points out their problems. He helps them fix it. They do not, usually they are stubborn about it and they're like, no, 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 no. You're the expert and I asked you to come here, but you're wrong. I'm right. I know why customers aren't here. There are just no customers. And I'm just like, nope. On what episode, I kid you guys not, I saw the chef, the chicken dropped to the floor. And then in front of the freaking camera crew and Chef Gordon Ramsay himself, he picks up the chicken and plops it back to the pan. And I just...
Then he like dust it off almost.
Oh, yes, he dusted it off. Don't worry, guys. He dusted off the chicken. The raw chicken that fell to the ground where the shoes are, stepping around. Put it back in the pan and was like, eh. And like nothing ever happened. I was like, oh my gosh. Oh. It made me do a double take on eating out. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I am very skeptical now about restaurant cleanliness in general. But that's what I'm imagining. Is that your girlfriend? I mean, wife, OP. Is that who you've been living with for 8 years? Like, if you weren't around, how does she actually cook? If this is her after the 8 years of you nagging her in the kitchen, what's really going on here? And where is this confidence coming from? I aspire to have this level of ridiculous, unfound confidence. Like, it's just amazing. It's actually genuinely amazing. Honestly, I don't know what I'd be more scared of. A dinner invite from your wife or like seeing it in person. Like, would you, okay, if you're invited to one of our friends and our friends were like this, would you want to be there in the kitchen to see it all go down, how your dinner came to be? Or do you just want to be at the end where you're just like, you know what? Ignorance is bliss. I don't want to know how it's made. I don't want to know how the food's made. I eat it and hopefully it tastes okay.
Yeah, that's a tough one, but I think I'd rather know in case there's some critical errors being made.
Some unsavory things happening in that kitchen.
Yeah. Well, I guess in regards to the wife's thing, so she seems to be confident enough.
Very, very confident.
To want to cook, but at the same time when she was called out.
Yep.
She is also aware that she never learned how to cook.
Yes.
That's a very strange combination there.
Right?
Like you're confident, but yet again, you're also aware that you don't know how to do it.
Is that weird?
Yeah.
You know what it reminds me of? The attitude of some of the, I picture one of those people on dating shows where they're literally, their personality is horrible, right? But they come in feeling like $1 million. They walk in, they're like, every girl here is going to want me. Every guy here is going to want me. I've never had an issue with dating in my life, but here they are on a dating show. And they're like, I'm the hottest thing around. And then the show is like, no, you're the villain. No one likes you in this house. No one likes you in the show. You're the problem. And they're like, me? I'm the problem? What? I feel like she's that type of person. Oh, no. I have a headache for you, OP. Just forget what I said about the first two stories. This would be the most stressful situation for me to be in. Have I ever done any kitchen mishap or thing in the kitchen where you were like, oh my gosh? Yes? What?
Yeah.
What?
The way you sometimes handle the knife and come close to cutting your fingers off.
Okay. In my defense, I was never taught how to use the knife correctly in the kitchen. Okay, that is a true statement. That's not my excuse. I'm just kidding, guys. But I sometimes have a little of an issue with spatial awareness, and I can be absent-minded, which is very dangerous. Don't be like me in the kitchen. A little bit dangerous. And I've accidentally cut myself before in the kitchen because of that. I'm better now than when we first met. Don't you raise your eyebrow.
I don't know. There's some things, the way you cut things is not very safe. And I did show you a better way of doing it.
Yeah, and I try to incorporate
a safer way.
I try to incorporate it. I just sometimes forget a little.
I don't know. I think you sometimes just go back to your old ways of like the way you slice apples.
Yeah. Okay, so do you guys slice apples? I can't be the only one. I wash it, and this is how my parents cut it, though. So I blame my parents for this. In all seriousness, for real. I hold the apple in my hand, in my left hand, right? My knife in the right, and I just chop it into sections in my hand.
Mid-air.
Yes, mid-air.
And then you just run the knife towards your hand, mid-air.
No, it's gentle. It's more gentle than it looks, I promise. I'm not as rough. And then once it has its little section, once the apple's section, you break off each slice. Is it the safest? No. Would I advertise it? No. Is it a habit that's been ingrained for years? Yes. You should see the way my dad cuts it. It's worse. He's way more rough about it. No, is that not a best practice for the kitchen?
Pretty sure it's not.
Hey, at least I'm not giving you raw chicken. If anything, guys, I'm very proud to say that I've almost mastered the perfect cooking temperature for chicken and salmon. I think I'm like 8.5 out of 10 the ways there. Because I used to overcook the chicken or salmon because I'm paranoid about, oh my gosh, I don't want us to get sick. But now I've got it down to science, like minutes. Like I have a whole ritual, like with the whole steaming the chicken first, and then you take the lid off the pan, then you sear it, and then you sear each side for, certain number of minutes depending on the cut. Like I've got it down pretty well, right? Right?
I think it's pretty good.
Yeah. So at least I'm not serving you pink chicken. No, let's see what some of the comments say. First comment from Irony. Maybe both of you take a basic cooking class together as some sort of couples thing. I don't know what to do about someone who won't agree that rice is a 2-to-1 ratio when the packaging even says so. Edit because the comments are focusing on my rice ratios. This is a callback to the OP showing her the package instructions and the wife sticking to her ratios. That makes crunchy rice. Not a debate on the perfect rice ratio. What is the perfect rice ratio?
Depends on the rice.
That was so fast.
Yes.
I will say, I'm very proud to say that we cook pretty good rice. We've gotten very many compliments about it. Although, and this might be sacrilege to say and admit on the podcast to you guys, we do not use a rice cooker. We cook rice in a pot.
I don't think you need a rice cooker.
I actually agree. As someone who grew up rice cooker all her life, wouldn't cook properly, rice in the pan, pot. Oh my gosh, it's so fluffy. It's so fresh. It's so delicious. And it's just aromatic.
It does require more attention.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
That's
not
the
as easy.
downside.
I'll say that.
I think the rice cooker makes it easier.
Yeah,
You don't have to pay attention.
Like you forget about it. You put it in and you forget.
That's why you set the timer, you measure carefully, and you get the perfect rice every single time.
Yeah. Although I have to say, I'm very curious to what rice they were doing because 2 cups of water to 1 cup of rice is a little bit crazy. But maybe it's brown rice or something. I don't know. Now, commenter continues, possibly sit down with her when not cooking or eating and say, look, let's fix this cooking situation. You say your mother never taught you how to cook. I was harsh and said you should know by now. Are you actually open to someone teaching you how to cook? If she says no, then ask her what her solution actually is. If she says yes, then sign up for the cooking classes. Not the a-hole. I love how there's a trail of comments literally debating the ratio of rice. So someone actually said, with rice, I always put slightly above what the water calls for. Turns out better for me. Like, we got a lot of rice, connoisseurs here. You're shaking your head. I agree. It's also preference, I guess. I don't like crunchy rice, but I also don't like soggy rice. I need perfectly, not al dente, a little bit over al dente, like perfectly cooked fluff rice. That's what I need. But here's what I would say. I'm glad that the comments are kind of providing some advice and suggestions. I'd say like a cooking class is an easy way to kind of interactively learn together without shaming your wife for it, in all seriousness. And maybe there's a different issue that you guys, like a deeper issue here that you aren't addressing. Like the way you're pointing it out, your wife feels kind of pissed off about it. And honestly, she just wants to ignore you, not listen to you. And is at this point kind of like, could be maybe slightly petty. I hope. Like, I kind of hope she's being petty. Like, I genuinely hope that your wife doesn't think that pink chicken's okay. This is like one of those things. Would you rather she be incompetent or petty? And it's kind of like, I'll pick petty here. I'm hoping that's the case. But if not, maybe take some of the comments advice here, OP, and sign up for a cooking class. Or like watch a YouTube video. You guys don't even have to physically leave your home. Like do a quick YouTube video or something binge of how to cook basic things or 10 things to know in the kitchen. There's tons of that. Another comment, not they hope, but this behavior is confusing to me. She said she thought it was done and it's not her fault her mother never showed her how to cook chicken growing up. So where in the world is this undeserved confidence coming from? I just can't resolve never being taught how to cook with assuming everyone else knows less than you about cooking. See, I'm not the only one. I'm just like, I kind of admire your wife in a way. Not her cooking skills, but her confidence. Like, okay, girl. She takes the world can be against you. But as long as you stand up for yourself, it won't matter. Right?
I don't know. Kind of also reminds me of some bad drivers or unaware drivers that they think they're so-called in the right or they know what they're doing. but they're like confidently incorrect.
Oh, yes. Confidently correct. See, I I feel like sometimes I deal with a lack of confidence, and even when I know I'm right, I don't even feel that confident about bringing it up because maybe I'm like, oh, maybe I have my facts wrong. Maybe I could be wrong. Even about these stories, guys. Let me know your comments. I can always be wrong, right? Or open my horizons to different perspectives. But it's just very baffling to me. You cannot blame your mother for this. Wifey cannot blame her mom. That's her own fault. She can't cook. Ugh, that's on you, girl. That's on you. Learn. We will not allow your incompetence here. Or at least OP, I hope you don't allow it. Like it's time. Maybe take the advice. Take that cooking class. Do what you got to do. Watch some YouTube videos. Maybe go a step further. You guys could, if this is too much, you could go a step further by going backwards. And instead of doing HelloFresh, do the other meal kits, the ones where they pre-cook it for you, and all you have to do is shove it in the microwave. If it really gets to that point. But best of luck to you, OP. And I hope you guys enjoyed today's reads. It's a little, I think they all ended positively, kind of, except that last one there. Kind of ended on a question mark of dun dun. I hope things improve for you type of vibes. But my condolences and best of luck to you, OP. Now, do you guys agree with my take? Do you agree with M's take? Do you guys, yell at us? Yell at us if you disagree or have anything to, educate me on if I'm missing on any points. And I hope you guys enjoyed this one. And if you have, don't forget to like this video and hit subscribe, guys. Although if you're tuning in from Spotify, don't forget to rate this podcast 5 stars. Thanks, guys. And I'll see you in the next one. Although, thank you guys for your patience because this week I am not sure I will have a second episode out. Wedding planning is getting a little bit crazy. So sorry, guys, if I don't have a second episode out. But I'll try, I promise. Okay, bye, guys.